I'm now joined by the victorious Gabby Sparks. Nice job.
Thank you. I was really nervous.
Yeah, walk us through it from your perspective. That match is
um,
really close.
yeah, so I made a couple mistakes. I definitely overextended into the language I didn't need to. I could have just like played the Denizen and probably still had a really good clock and then still play the Pile Driver after. So I think that cost me a lot. I definitely shouldn't have blocked the Tasigur on game two. I was like, I felt so strongly he was just gonna wrath the board, but it could have been Drown in Sorrow. So it would have been really bad.
Yeah, no, your play was bad versus language and
Yeah.
drown, but I
Yeah.
mean, we gave you credit for reading him for exactly the crux of faith that he had.
It kind of felt like it was just a wrath, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to block here. And then after I blocked, I was like, oh god, it's probably gonna end up horribly. And then there was Crux, so it was okay.
Yeah, the other fork in the road that was kind of interesting was you slow played a dragon fodder in one of the earlier games. It didn't seem like it ended up mattering.
Yeah, so I was really worried about Bile Blight because I haven't seen any, and he's running a couple in his list.
Yep.
And I felt like he was probably gonna try to get it. Like even if I play Obelisk in that spot, he can still just drown them all away. So I probably should have still played them because I still don't think I can beat a drown in that spot, even if I have Obelisk. So I should have played it anyway.
There were a bunch of those tricky spots where it's like, what are you playing around? Do you just move in? Do you try to slow play?
I mean, the thing is that you also can't play this deck and go slowly. Like that just doesn't really work.
Yeah, I was about to say exactly the same thing.
Yeah, so I mean, sometimes you just kind of lose to overextending, and like that's gonna happen a certain percentage of the time. I think it's important to just know when not to do that, but like, and I think I did that wrong in game one.
Okay.
But sometimes you just gotta like go for it.
And you know what? Sometimes you draw 3 copies of Stoke the Flanks.
Yep. I mean, Paul was bricking on land, so
Yeah, he had a language the whole time.
yeah, that doesn't surprise me. That's also why I didn't really want to play like the 2-1 at the end, whatever his name is.
The Glory Chaser?
Yes, no.
Oh,
Subterranean
Subterranean.
Scout. Yeah. Because if he just taps out for anything at this point, I can respond. Like I'm probably gonna do it at his upkeep anyway.
Completely agreed with the way you played that. You're 2-0.
Yes. So if Marshall gets this, I'm locked.
If Marshall gets this, you're locked. Is that true?
I think so.
Oh, because if Marshall gets this, he'll be 1-1. We can put the standings up. I haven't thought through all the permutations. I was looking at some of the.
I think so. I'm not 100%.
Yeah, I mean, we have the standings. At least I think we have the standings. Right. So if Marshall gets this, you've got head to head on Marshall. Is your point?
Right.
Yeah, I think the game wins and the fewest game losses are before head to head.
Yes, they are. So it's game wins, fewest game losses, head to head. Then like.
Yeah, we actually have the long version of the standings too.
One more thing, and then pro points, which I'm definitely gonna lose.
Do we have the? Oh, they're ready to go to the match. Let's stop looking at the standings. You're in great shape. Let's say that much. You know what else you need to do though?
What?
You want the third win for the bye.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing.
If you get a bye in the playoffs, you automatically qualify for the Super League championships in the fall. Because the top four,
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, bye. The 2/3 of the group winners get a bye and get automatically into the fall Super League championships. So
sure.
I don't think nobody can go 3-0 in the group of death. So if you 3-0, you clinch everything. All right.
They're starting.
Yes, let us do this match. Marshall.
What do you think of this matchup, Randy?
Yeah, you feel free to drive. Marshall's draw looks pretty. Whoa, I didn't see the Bile Blight at first. So it's 5-land, 2-spell, Bile Blight and Dragon. Is that good enough?
Let me see his hand. Sorry, our webcam is actually like blocking my view. Let me change this real quick. There you go.
Kenji is on the play.
Kenji's on the play. I think that's pretty important for him.
Yeah, Marshall's keeping 5-land, 2-spell, which you probably have to.
I think he does. I think the Bile Blight is pretty good. You want some early interaction against Kenji. You just kind of want to trade 1-for-1 against him.
Yeah, and Kenji knows how important it is to try to get on the front foot. So face up Den Protector. He's got another one in his hand. He had no other 2-drop. It totally makes sense to me.
Right. For sure. And then he just drew a Downfall. That's pretty good.
Yeah, Marshall needs to draw spells.
He just needs to not get run over. I think that he just needs to trade 1-for-1 until he can probably wrath away the board, replenish his hand, then be in really good shape.
Yeah, so.
But Kenji's hand is really good.
2 mana for 2 mana. Vile Blight hits Den Protector. Kenji's hand, I agree, quite good. He's got a second Den Protector. Okay, Skrylit is looking at an Elvish Mystic.
He looking at an elf? He bottomed it, I think.
Yeah, he pushed that. Oh, I didn't realize his only land came into play tap, so he does not get to play anything this turn unless
That's actually pretty punishing. Because, like, when you get to the, like, both games can play a really, really good long game. Like, between recurring, well, the face of Dumb Protector, but between recurring, like, the Death Mists, you have Planeswalkers, you have, he's playing 4 of Coco, right?
I believe so.
I think so. Let me check.
Yeah, and he did go face up Den Protector. Marshall keeps drawing 1-for-1 removal spells.
Right.
I mean, Kenji's playing against 1-for-1 removal spells is either Death Mist Recursion or Den Protector. He wants to get the ahead on the card advantage from that way. So
right, and he is playing 4 Collected Company, which is really, really good for him, especially in this matchup.
Yeah, Marshall's just going to keep 1-for-1ing. Even gains 4 life this time.
Yeah, I was gonna say Marshall's happy to continue doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and he has Dragon. He's gonna gain some life too. That's pretty sweet.
Nissa. It's not going to turn into a Planeswalker for a while.
Probably not. It's probably gonna die before that happens. She might come back eventually with another Dumb Protector, but 2 are in the bin already.
Marshall closing in.
I think it's really important for Marshall to kind of put a clock on Kenji before Kenji starts doing too much shenanigans with like recurring his creatures and playing Coco and like putting more threats on the board, especially given that Marshall doesn't have a Wrath right now.
Yeah, I think his play next turn is tap out for Ojutai.
Yeah, I think so too. And if that happens, I think Kenji's pretty happy to try to fight it with Dromoka's Command. He has Death Miss. He could just like take it down, lose this creature too, but he can get it back eventually. Oh, there you go, Languish. It's pretty good.
Kenji declines to play anything. He's basically left up the mana for Boon Satyr. So doesn't risk a Raptor main phase, just wants to have Boon Satyr available end step, which does a pretty nice job of playing around with any Languish that Marshall might have.
For sure. I was going to say, I think Kenji gets pretty wrecked by Languish here, so it seems pretty good too. He has pressure. He's going to continue attacking with these creatures. Either Marshall has to 1-for-1 right now, and he can flash in Boon Satyr at the end of the turn, which seems pretty good. Or he could just overcommit, get Languished away, and then his hand looks pretty bad.
Ojutai is the play for Marshall.
I mean, I think this is fine. It's not that much pressure. He's taking 3. Ojutai can block. It has hexproof, so it's not going to be... I mean, actually, he should be worried about blocking something that's going to get Boon Satyr on it. That would be pretty bad. That'd be awful.
Fine to play the Boon Satyr.
Yup.
For exactly that reason. He wants to use this. He wants to use Boon Satyr as a combat trick. So basically, less mana spent, less than ideal. But having Boon Satyr here mid combat is pretty nice.
Yeah, definitely. Did Marshall block? I don't think he blocked.
I don't think he blocked.
Yeah. Probably scared of exactly this. And Kenji still has to do it, and it's still really fun.
Kenji brains him. This also does play around Languish a little bit, right? Because the Boon Satyr just falls off.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And he just has a 4/2 after that all is said and done.
Ojutai attacking. Ojutai's not super happy about this Languish. Not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, definitely not.
That is the problem with the way Marshall's sort of sequenced out his cards. He's in this spot where Languish kills his dragon, so he kind of has to race.
I mean, that's kind of what's awkward about Languish in the deck, is that you can just kill your own guys too.
The thing is, though, Ojutai may mean if Ojutai keeps finding him more Foul Tongue invocations.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Then
yeah, no, it's not a reason not to play it. It is a little awkward.
It kills Nissa.
Well, Fog's the whole attack, so that's pretty nice.
Mm-hmm. Marshall's also building up to dig through time here.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So he has, I can't see his graveyard fully. He has 5, is that correct?
Right, so he's going to tap out. 3
so
mana.
Tap out for it, yeah.
Now, if you're Kenji, do you run out of Collected Company?
I would actually let him resolve the dig through time if I wanted to cast Collected Company, because I don't
Sure.
want to have the information that I just cast Collected Company. I
Right.
still don't think I want to though.
Yeah, I mean, you let Marshall untap and potentially languish away your board.
Yeah, it's so likely that you just like Coco into lose your whole board, right? Because you don't no longer have that Boon Satyr as protection, not
Oh,
anymore.
I like what Kenji's doing. He's not gonna Coco. He's gonna use Dromoka's command to kill Ojutai.
Oh, that seems pretty good actually.
Yeah. So he ends up trading the Boon Satyr and the Dromoka's command for
Yeah, but you got
Ojutai.
rid yeah, you got rid of the Ojutai, which is pretty good.
Wow. Marshall dug his way into Ugin plus Dissolve, then untapped top deck Crux of Fate. All the removals.
So I feel like so Marshall's hand languish. Wow, he has so much gas. So here he Cocos. Sure, but he's gonna lose all of this soon, which is not. There you go. So he gets countered. Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely feels like Marshall's turned the corner now.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with the Ugin in hand. That's very good. It changes Ugin. Ugin changes the game.
Yeah, just 1-for-1, 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 dig through time, Ojutai.
Right.
It's kind of the way this deck functions when it's functioning well.
He also doesn't have any there's like one raptor in the bin, is that correct? So it's not like any are coming back. Is there even a raptor in the bin?
No,
There is no raptor? Yeah, I can't see it fully. Okay, yeah, so just the one in his hand. Yeah, so okay. Yeah, this is definitely turned around for Marshall at this point.
I mean, you could hypothetically flip Nissa next turn. Does that do anything?
I mean, it draws you cards.
Ojutai. Back from the Haven.
Yeah. Back boys. So what is
So
this?
if Marshall does win this, then Kenji's 0-2. Marshall plays Paul next week, right? You play Kenji?
Correct.
So Marshall winning this definitely clinches playoffs for you because only one of Marshall and Paul can win the match between Marshall and Paul.
Correct. And so then that breaks, even if I lose next week, that breaks that tiebreaker.
Exactly.
Yep.
If Kenji goes win-win, then there could potentially be a three-way tie at 2-1.
This game looks pretty locked away at this point. Kenji with one forest and Marshall with infinite cards. So Ojutai's back. Yeah, this puts a really quick clock. I like that.
Put us all out of our misery, Marshall. The dragon. All he's got left is a sweeper, a removal spell, a dig through time, and a time. That's all he's got left with Ojutai in play.
Basically infinite.
Like Magic the Puzzling. Can you win from here? I don't know. Am I breathing? Am I alive? Yes, I can win from here.
Oh no. This is the saddest Brimas in the world. He doesn't even have a cat buddy to sacrifice it to. Oh. Yeah, so 3 more hits. I mean, Kenji does have 2 draw steps, but what kind of draws could Kenji have at this point that fix any of this?
Like from Kenji's perspective,
yeah,
he can win by stacking his deck and having stacking Marshall's deck with all lands in hand and on top. Right, that's from Kenji's perspective. He doesn't know he's 100% dead because he doesn't know Marshall's holding all gas.
Right. I mean, no, he should definitely play this out. He has no idea about Marshall's hand.
Yeah, I'm just saying from our perspective, seeing what Marshall's already got in his hand,
we know the game is locked away. So this is interesting because Fleecemane Lion is pretty good against this deck if you get it to live through having to sack it at some point.
Yeah,
but obviously this line's not going to do very much on this board, unfortunately.
We'll use one of our dig through times. Maybe a Falcon, I guess, is the best card. Counterspell is also nice.
Yeah, so he monster says.
Sure.
I mean, if Marshall finds,
he doesn't have to find anything because he just wins the race with Ojutai.
Oh, I mean, certainly, but he's still gonna. Dig through time's still on the stack. He's gonna find something. If he just gets Foul Tongue, he has to know that Kenji doesn't have anything else in hand because, like, I'm sure he probably would have just played it.
Silumgar Scorn also does feel pretty good. Silumgar Scorn is
Sure, Scorn and Downfall?
Yeah. And draws a second Scorn, so he wins this even as a pure race.
Yeah, for sure.
He's got counter spells for Kenji.
6.
Draw steps. You know what? It's a race between Marshall and whether he's going to ever have to discard to having too many good cards in
It's
his hand.
true.
He is running the risk of
Man.
being forced to discard something awesome. 6 good cards in his hand and nothing to do with them. What a blowout.
Yeah,
Crazy.
this is pretty rough. So this is why it's interesting. Like, I think Kenji's deck is pretty well. Yeah, so he was drawing Brimas, and yeah, none of this was doing anything. So his deck is actually like pretty well set up to beat control. I mean, obviously, this is exactly the scenario that he doesn't want, right? Just like trade 1 for 1, trade 1 for 1, trade 1 for 1. Get into the point where now Marshall has like a million lands and all gas. So, but I think can we pull up the deck list?
Yeah, we should look at the sideboards. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's look at Kenji's sideboard first. He seems like he's the one who needs help. I mean, I'm going to guess blind that Marshall gets better because that's normally how the control decks work.
Yeah, typically.
But does Kenji have anything that's exciting over here?
So, no.
Not really.
No, he doesn't. So the only thing I think he can bring in is the stands and probably take out like a Dromoka's command.
I mean, his main deck is decent against control as
Right. It's like I said, I think the deck is like well set up to beat control. I just don't think he has very much in the sideboard. None of those cards do anything except
no, his deck is what it is. And I mean, look, it's the hallmark of a Brian Kibler design, right? It's good enough to beat down against control.
Have those resilient threats after, yeah.
Yeah. No, this is the way Brian Kibler builds these mid-range decks, and he's pretty well set up for the matchup. It's just sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes the control deck actually draws the right answers, and you're not that fast.
He was just 1-for-1ing him the entire time. And the thing too is that the stance isn't even that good. It's just better than Dromoka's command. So you're not even really upgrading your deck. You're just making it less bad.
You make a good point about Dromoka's command being bad here. We should look at Marshall's list.
Yeah.
But I mean, Dromoka's command has become so omnipresent in Standard these days. Does that actually open up a window for people to go back to Esper Dragons?
I think there's a chance. I mean, like, it still kills Ojutai. I think a lot of times you are going to kill it.
All right. Well, they're ready for the match.
He has a lot of stuff he can bring in.
Yeah, I think it ultimately comes down.
He's got Jace's. Languish Thoughtseize is pretty good.
What does he want, though? They're actually bad cards? It
It
was bad that last game, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Marshall Sutcliffe up a game, trying to send Kenji to the basement in the streamers group, trying to set up a win-and-in for himself next week against Paul Cheon, and try to clinch playoffs for you.
Yes. Marshall doing some good work. Look, he brought in the Jaces. Oh, he brought Silumgar too. Silumgar does seem good. The interesting thing about Silumgar in this matchup is it's a real target for Stance, whereas I think in the Esper Dragons matchup, Stance doesn't have very many targets, but still really good.
No Elvish Mystic for Kenji. That's really what he hopes to be able to do on turn 1. He has to settle for Fleece Mane. And now we've seen so many Jaces dying in so many matchups in Standard these days. This is actually a matchup where it's going to stick, and it's actually going to live long enough to do some stuff.
Yeah, it'll get to do its fun thing of it probably gets to live long enough to block, flip, save some damage, minus your creature, let's play a long game.
And then in theory, it's supposed to start flashing back removal spells, although Marshall has a handful of dragons right now.
Right. I mean, having the trip dragon draw is not exactly where Marshall wants to be at. He wants ways that he can just like pick off at these creatures and
you know what you need to fix the flawed draw, though? You need a Merfolk Looter.
Yeah.
Merfolk Looter is kind of just what this hand wants.
That the Megamorpho, I forget his name. The
Hidden Dragon Slayer?
Yeah, Hidden Dragon Slayer is pretty good against killing some of these dragons because he can't counter it. Marshall can't counter that. So he just gets, if it resolves and it gets go into play and it flip eventually, it's gonna get to kill one of those dragons. If it gets to kill Silumgar, that's pretty good for Kenji.
Meanwhile, Warden and Fleece Mane attack for 6, and there's a Collected Company ready for Marshall's end step. Like, Marshall's gonna he needs to do something to react to the board, and then Kenji can just refill.
He's drawn too many big casting.
Yeah, he drew 3 dragons. Then he looted his way into a dig through time, which doesn't help yet. He needs removal spells. I wonder what he took out for the Jaces.
To make room for this?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, let me see his deck list.
He's taking out removal spells?
I don't think you want to. I think you just want to slow them down through the entire game.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Um, I don't know how good. I'm not sure how good the foul tongues are.
Drown in Sorrow is
Oh,
not the removal spell Marshall wants right here.
oh God, that's so awkward.
Straight to the graveyard.
I'm not
Jace
sure I
takes.
like bringing Drown here. A lot of Kenji's creatures are bigger than 2.
No, I don't like Drown.
Yeah, the lions are bigger than 2. The
Kills the worst, right? Dragon Slayer.
wardens get into like those wardens are not usually 1/1s. They're usually 3/3s, and they usually die as a 3/3.
Yeah, super awkward draw for Marshall here.
Yeah, it's not what he wants to see right now.
Feels like we're going to game 3. We're now in Marshall's end step, and Kenji's trying to decide whether to run out this collected company.
I mean, I wonder to what point Kenji can kind of like smell the blood here, right? Because those creatures aren't dead.
Right, well,
And Marshall hasn't drowned anything away, so what's going on?
Marshall could have a downfall. Marshall could have a foul tongue invocation. Those are the cards that would make Kenji kind of wish that he had collected company.
Right. I mean, I feel like he can just keep playing writing on the back of these two. Like he has no. There's just no incentive to even like make a move. If he runs any creature out, he just gives Marshall a chance to counter something, right? And if Marshall doesn't have drown here, like what is he gonna do? Or not drown, sorry, languish.
Yeah. Marshall is obliged to tap mana eventually, and that's the point where Kenji can collect a company him. So Kenji's line makes sense. Marshall finally draws Hero's Downfall.
Mm-hmm.
So he can kill one of them. Like, he can't kill the Fleece Maid, not with 5 mana untapped. I don't know how Marshall gets out of this.
No, I think this is really tough.
His mana lets him down.
The fact that Kenji has that Koko, I mean, like Kenji would have played this game differently if he didn't have collected company, but the fact that he has it just changes this a lot.
I mean, I guess Marshall has a downfall and a scorn, right? So he can counterspell a collected company, kill one of the creatures. The other one doesn't quite kill him, and then somehow next turn kill the other creature.
Just try to kill the other creature. I mean, a line that Kenji has available too is that if at some point he feels like he wants to monstrous that lion, if he feels like it's not going to get, if he feels that maybe Marshall took out the foul tongues, maybe, like Marshall can't really kill that lion.
So Marshall ships the turn. He did not activate Jace. He did not play anything. Kenji declines the collected company opportunity.
Yeah, he's not pressed to do it. He has no incentive to.
Exactly. He's just waiting for Marshall to commit his mana.
Yeah.
And Marshall's not going to do it. So now Marshall is blocking with Jace. Jace is not actually ready to flip yet.
Yeah, it's just this is the saddest Jace in the world.
It's like, I found you nothing, and I die as a chump block.
Oh, I guess. So this gets one more card. Kraken gets one more card in, but no, there's no way.
Oh, Polluted Delta. He can flip him.
He can. No, that's only.
Polluted Delta Heroes Downfall.
Yeah.
He can actually flip him.
He can flip. Yep. Yeah, this is going to work out nicely. I mean, it's still not looking good for Marshall.
So Kenji tries to save his creature from downfall with Valorous Stance, but Marshall has the Silumgar Scorn we talked about.
And then he gets
now it doesn't even need the loot card. He's flipping by 1 extra, so Jace does get to turn into a Planeswalker.
Right. The really awkward thing is that Kenji doesn't have one more land, because if he could just Coco at some point here, that'd be awesome. It looks like he's kind of turning this game around.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Kenji goes for face down morph. That makes sense. Marshall is now found Haven, so he can slam a dragon.
Yeah.
We've lost Kenji.
And as long as Kenji, he's... So what's he going to pick? Is it Slumgar? Take another one of those creatures? Yeah, he's so low.
Sure.
Yeah. And as long as Kenji doesn't... And he knows he doesn't have one of those stances now. And there's no onboard Hidden Dragon Slayer or anything. So he minuses the lion. Yeah, things are starting to turn around for Marshall. It's starting to look...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the fact that Kenji just never spent his mana for multiple turns. Like, he sat on that collected company waiting to respond, but then when Marshall finally started doing stuff, he played a Valorous Stance.
Mm-hmm.
So collected company never actually did anything. Now, he would have run it into Silumgar Scorn if he played it on that turn 4 end step.
Yeah.
But then Marshall doesn't have the Silumgar Scorn to stop Valorous Stance. I don't know. It's a tricky sequence. Like Kenji just basically did nothing on turn 4 and turn 5 except attack.
Right.
And it may add up to Marshall winning this match, winning this game anyway.
Do you remember if Kenji had any removal spell for the Silumgar before the hand cam went off?
Uh-uh.
Mm.
Oh, there's the Hidden Dragon.
Dragon Slayer. Yeah. Right, but it's not on the board. But I guess Kenji could resolve that right now and Marshall can counter it.
Looks like Kenji's got up monstrous mana, also Collective Company mana. Interesting. Marshall.
Yeah, which is interesting because we know that the Hidden Dragon Slayer is going to resolve and could probably take down that Silumgar, but obviously Kenji doesn't know that. Which makes, having Coco or having Monstrous for Lion more appealing. It kind of stinks though because he keeps just getting this Lion's never attacking.
Jace keeps ticking up. Oh, there's a second Collected Company now in Kenji's hand.
Oh, that's kind of spicy.
Yeah, you go for it here. I assume Marshall's going to counterspell. He does.
Oh wait, never mind.
The Dragon Slayer is the face down.
The Dragon Slayer. Dragon Slayer can definitely not kill Silumgar. This is not the big Silumgar.
Feels like kind of a flavor fail.
Yeah, a little bit. Your Dragon Slayer, please. This is not a big enough Silumgar to die. What kind of Dragon Slayer are you? You can't take down one of the Dragon Lords.
Now Marshall's going to tap out for Dig Through Time.
Yeah.
Is this the point where Kenji sets a stop on his own end step, waits for Dig to resolve, and then goes for Collected Company?
I think so. He doesn't really have very many plays other than this.
I mean, it's either that or wait for Marshall's end step and hope you run Marshall out of Silumgar Scorns.
I mean, what's Marshall looking for with this Dig? I feel like he's kind of looking to gain some life.
Sure, Faltong would be great.
Yeah.
I mean,
Faltong's good because it doesn't let this Lion stick around.
Right. Faltong is both life gain and a solution to an indestructible Fleece Mane. Temple of Enlightenment is the first card that enters his hand, and Ashiok.
That's interesting. I wasn't sure if Marshall was going to leave that or take it out.
No, he's brought in a lot of sideboard cards. I don't know what he took out, but he's definitely brought in a lot of sideboard cards. There's one Ashiok in his sideboard and one in the main deck, so it could be the one from the main.
So Marshall looks for a Languish, and I think he probably correctly predicts that Kenji hasn't cast a Collected Company yet. Oh, Kenji has PJ Salt. I mean, he probably gets a read that Kenji hasn't cast a single Collected Company yet. So there's a really good chance that one's coming. And if he can't counter it, he can at least wipe them all away. Chat's going wild with the PJ Salt.
Kenji did wait for end steps so that these wouldn't be vulnerable to Languish. And this one is finally going to resolve.
See if he gets anything spicy.
Warden of the First Tree.
And Raptor.
Death Tracker. And thin the library and activate the Warden.
Yeah, it seems pretty good. Now, he is... So what are Kenji's attacks here? Ooh, that Nissa.
He can flip Nissa.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a Death Toucher.
He finds the last land and flips.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he can play Nissa, and he could play a Fleece Mane if he wanted to. He cannot play Nissa and Monstrous. He's 1 mana short of that.
Right.
Yeah, send in a Death Toucher. I would like to trade with something.
Right, and I
I assume
mean,
he's attacking Marshall, not Jace. Marshall being
yeah,
his
I
sister and
think
all.
I think you have to attack Marshall because you're in a spot where Kenji is far behind right here. That Jace is also not. I can't fully see what he's at, but I believe he's pretty high in loyalty
It's
right
8.
now. 8, yeah. So like, what does attacking Jace really do for you in this spot?
So Marshall chump blocks with that hidden Dragon Slayer. Here's Nissa getting a land, conveniently land number 7, and now we have a Planeswalker on both sides.
I mean, also given that we know that Marshall
Both
has the languish, that having the Nissa flip here is pretty nice.
Now Marshall does have a pair of flyers, so he can kill
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I guess Kenji's at 18, so Marshall does care about killing this Nissa and kind of closing the door on this game.
Yeah, it might be time for Languish.
I mean, he definitely wants to do that after, like, he wants to kill Nissa.
Kill Nissa and then Languish.
Yeah, probably. I mean, otherwise you... Is the result the same if you just... Yeah, so you can
You want to attack
probably...
first
Oh, but
because
he has 4... Kenji has 4 mana up, so he doesn't really want to attack with Silumgar. Because, like, what if Kenji end steps, you know, if he, like, attacks with... Oh, he is attacking with both.
yeah, well, he needs to attack with Ojutai and get the card before it dies to the Languish.
Right. No, Ojute was going to definitely attack. I just wasn't sure if he wanted to attack with Silumgar or not.
What are you worried about from
Like,
on Marshall's behalf?
if... Well, I guess he has Dissolve, so it's not that big of a problem. If Kenji was just going to, like, end step, get some creatures in, and then... I guess you counter anything that Kenji plays at instant speed here, so it's not really a concern. I guess you're free to attack.
Dissolve makes your life a lot easier.
Yeah, you're free to attack, because, like, there's nothing that could really happen, not with 4 mana. Right, because it could only be Boon Satyr or Collected Company and both get countered.
Yep. So Languish wipes the board, including the Ojutai, but these things happen. Marshall's now got a Dissolve and an Ashiok and a Jace and a Dragon versus a hand with a pair of Fleecemane Lions.
Yeah, it seems pretty easy to cast Languish there, because yeah, you lose your Ojutai, but like that's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Especially given what you have in hand and given how far behind you put Kenji when you do that. And the fact that Jace is getting all these cards back that he can keep using to kind of
Oh yeah.
pick away at Kenji.
Dissolve stops the first Fleecemane. Now just run out the second, even though you can't monstrous it.
Yeah, probably.
And the Dragon Slayer? No.
Given that Dragon Slayer cannot do what it should be doing.
Small and puny Silumgar? I don't think he would like that.
I mean, the tough thing here too is that Jace can keep just giving that monstrous lion, or like the unmonstrous lion, just like there you go. Oh, or you can just kill it, and that works too.
Flashback Downfall.
Yeah.
Kill your lion. Play an Ashiok. How many different axes can Marshall win this game on, do you think?
It's pretty good. It's interesting because I don't know, like Ashiok is pretty good against like creature-based decks, but I don't know how good it is in this matchup because it's kind of slow and Kenji's threats hit pretty fast. They hit pretty hard. Obviously Ashiok looks awesome here.
Kenji's like, I cast a spell, Marshall dissolve.
It's like no.
I don't know what it is. Starts tapping his mana as soon as Kenji started tapping his. Kenji down to a Valorous stance, which is going to kill Dragonlord Silumgar.
But unfortunately, it doesn't get the other creature that he used to steal.
So we're tied, right? Nobody's got anything in hand. They both just got a bunch of lands.
And 2 Planeswalkers, no big deal.
2 Planeswalkers to 0.
Oh, I guess there's a Haven too, and like 3 dragons in the bin.
Other than that, though, Kenji's okay.
That was interesting, countering the Dragon Slayer there.
Jace just gave flashback to dig through time? Is that what just happened? The value train. All aboard the value train.
And this is the value train. Did he dig anything important away? I don't think he did. I kind of don't want to dig away any spells when I have an active Jace. Oh, but he finds he finds Ugin. This is like assemble the Super Friends.
Kenji actually just out of stuff. Now it's 3
You can't
Planeswalkers.
cast it yet. What's behind that? Oh, this is just Assault the Wound.
Kill you with your own Brimaz?
Yeah. Oh
Wow.
no. That doesn't do anything. I really hope
The bluff. The bluff.
he's about to concede.
Yeah.
I was really hoping we'd get to. Oh no, Arishan Cleric. So I guess Kenji brought in Arishan Cleric. I guess he has some really bad cards in the matchup.
It's
Where Arishan Cleric is at least a creature, like at least it hits for one.
a plan. It's not a great plan, but it is in fact.
It is a plan.
Well, it looks like Kenji will not be joining you in the playoffs. It looks like you will be in the playoffs. The group is now, you're sitting at 2-0. Paul and Marshall are both 1-1 and paired against each other next week, so that's a win and in.
Yeah.
And you get paired against Kenji, where a win for you is both a bye and an invite to the Super League Championship.
That would be pretty sick.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think Kenji has a good matchup to me.
He seemed to like it. He was definitely looking forward to next week. If he could just get past this week, he thought he was.
Yeah. No, I think he does. We'll have to see. I haven't really tried it out very much, but we'll find out.
You got 2 weeks for that, right?
It's true. It's true.
Off next week. So World Championships, the entire group of death will be there. I'll be there. Marshall will be there. I know Kenji is threatening to wander around in cosplay. I'm not sure exactly what's up with that. But yeah, PAX is going to be awesome. World Championships is going to be awesome, but that doesn't mean that there's no Standard Super League next week. I don't know. PAX is going to be awesome. I'm also looking forward to this weekend. Eternal Weekend this weekend.
That sounds. There's a bunch of good Magic stuff coming up.
I agree. Legacy Champs and Vintage Champs are both this weekend. There will be a stream. I'll be streaming it alongside Brian David Marshall and Bob Maher, actually.
That sounds that sounds fun.
That's great. Yeah, Vintage Champs will be on Sunday. WMCQ Top 8. I'm sure we'll get at least a final of that on.
Yeah. Yeah, the one in Philly. It's in Philly this weekend?
It's in Philadelphia, that's right.
Yeah.
I have a Thursday night red eye set up where I can spend my Friday playing Magic.
Yeah.
The rest of the weekend.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good time.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm also in Standard Super League. We'll be back once we get on the other side of the World Championships. We will be back once again. Thanks for hanging out with me, Gabby.
Absolutely. Thank you. This was a pleasure. Thanks, everyone.
We will see you guys in 2 weeks. Same time, 2 Tuesdays from now. We'll have the last week of the group stage. We'll find out who is going to be in the playoffs. See you guys then.